If you have a center of any kind that's doing Zoom Sunday services or weekday sessions or what have you, let them know. We're open to presenting and making the work available on a wider and wider scale and globally. Our objective is every mind, heart, and being on the planet. The book is in the process of being translated into a new language, Mandarin, which is, I don't even know how many, couple of billion people is going to become available to, so that's pretty cool. So I don't know, I think we're up to 9 different languages for the book. If you haven't read Why Is This Happening to Me Again as yet, the book is out of print, although you can usually buy a copy fairly inexpensively on eBay or on Amazon. There are used copies available. And you're welcome to go to our website and download the book free in any one of 9 different languages. So if you go to Why Again, WHYAGAIN.org/book, then you'll find links to several different translations. So you're welcome to download it, put it to work. And of course, if you want an explanation of the forgiveness process, you can go to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type in Michael RYCE, and you'll find our channel. And there is the latest 3-hour workshop that we did of Why Is This Happening to Me Again, that lays out and explains the whole forgiveness process. And as soon as we get the video from Saturday's workshop, which brings it down to a 2-hour explanation with this simpler worksheet, the previous one, the 3-hour, has the full 7-step. And so we'll be putting that video out, and we'll let you know that that is also going to be available. So the mechanisms for making the first century Aramaic forgiveness process, which in 50 years of searching, I have never found anything that even comes close to it, except in that which comes out of the first century Aramaic language. And so if we can support you in any way, shape, or form, that's what we're here to do. And delighted to have you part of our conversation today. So, Ms. Jean, do we have anybody in the phone queue with a hand up? Anything happening in the chat room? Any questions from the app?
There is a hand up.
Awesome. Let's say hello.
And I believe it's Miss Roma. Oh, she just... Well, Roma, I thought your hand was up and then it disappeared. Was your hand up? Maybe not. Roma? No? Okay, but Celinda's hand went up, so I'll turn Celinda's microphone on. 541, you're on the air.
Yes, Michael and Jean.
Welcome, young lady.
Welcome to you, too. It's a beautiful day here. I hope it is over there. And I have one quick question. This morning I was listening to Dr. Tim, and he was using a very abbreviated form of the 7-step that he took off his app.
Do what, sweetie?
All right. If that is the same,
you want to mute, Jeannie?
Is the same one that you are doing in this new, as a new PDF, and that will be online?
Could you repeat that question again, please?
Okay. The question is, Dr. Tim did a worksheet for himself this morning from his app, and it was very, very simple. And I'm asking, is that the same worksheet that you are adopting or adapting for the website? And can I download it? I haven't.
Okay.
Okay.
There are 2 different worksheets in the app. There is the full 7-step worksheet, and then there's one that Jeannie uses in her women's workshop on Women Healing Women. So I assume that that's the one you're talking about. That's the simpler one. But the worksheet that we're talking about from Saturday is a totally new worksheet. It doesn't appear anywhere in the world yet, except in the hands of the people who are part of this workshop on Saturday. And Jeannie is working as we speak to put it on the website so it will be available.
So is that one Jeannie's worksheet for women, is that available at the YN?
It's on the website. It is.
It's on the
under
website
reality,
and it's in the app.
It's called abbreviated.
Yeah. Abbreviated 7-step?
It just says abbreviated. Yeah, it does say abbreviated 7-step. And on the website, it actually says that Jeannie uses in the Women Healing Women.
Perfect. I shall look it up and download it. I really liked it. It was direct to the point, wasn't confusing for me, and wasn't a distraction for me in trying to organize my thoughts. So that's great. I shall do that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Delighted.
Awesome. And delighted. So am I. You two are rocking.
Things are moving for sure. Things are moving, yes.
I love it. I love it. Thank you
thanks
so
for your
much.
call.
You have a great day.
Okay. Cool. Well, I have a question from a private chat that was being done on Facebook, and our conversation last week about the marijuana. This woman wrote and said her 18-year-old son, who's patterning things after his dad, and she's trying to get him to understand the worksheet and to think about why growing and using pot might not be a good thing for his brain that's 18. And so you might want to just access if you're interested in that topic, and you might want to access the website page on marijuana. And I'm thinking, Jeannie, that maybe we could make that page marijuana and alcohol, and we could put the article that I post on Facebook about alcohol. I'm kind of amazed that I've gotten through this many years in my world, and until I started to research alcohol, there was just so much I did not understand about it. And so I'll send you that article. I just did an edit to it. So I'll send that to you, and maybe we can put it on the marijuana page and make it marijuana and alcohol.
We actually already have so many links going to the marijuana page that now I'd have to go back and change them all. But we do already have pages about alcohol and the 12-step and drugs and addiction, so I can put links to all of that and link them together. But I think changing the name of the marijuana page is going to turn into complexity.
Too messy. Okay. Got it. Okay. Understood. Sweet. Okay. And then the young lady who wrote me about her son and marijuana wanted to understand more about the idea that we spoke about last week of when brain cells fire together, they wire together. So the idea there is to recognize that whenever two things that are not connected in the mind become associated because two things in the environment resonate those things at the same time, then what happens when they fire together at the same time is that they literally become connected, and we call it the file folder effect. The file folder effect says that when one of those sets of brain cells fire, then the second set fires as well. And so I use an example of two sets of brain cells that I know everybody's got, and that is that everybody's got a set of brain cells that represents the color purple. If I say purple, there's something starts to resonate or move in your mind. And then I know that everybody's got brain cells for the animal called an alligator. And those two have probably never been wired together before. And so what we recognize is that when they do fire together, they literally become connected. And so when I say, don't think about a purple alligator, then what we know is that the fact that I utilize those two statements at the same time there's going to be a resonance between those two files. And though you've probably never thought about, unless you heard me use this example, a purple alligator before, now if I say the words purple and alligator, they're going to fire together at the same time. Well, that's just how this mind works. And so what we're looking to do is to recognize it, and a place where this is especially important to understand and especially applicable is in the area of relationships. So when we're in a relationship situation and let's say an old hurt resonates, and I'm in a relationship with someone that's brand new, that if they say or do something, the fact that they're in my presence, my file, so to speak, on them is active in my mind. And if they do a behavior that resonates that old hurt in me, then the fact that they're in my presence and my hurt is resonating, those two files will tend to become wired together. And when they do, there's a link in them. And until I forgive as to that resonance, until I forgive as to that link that's made, then whenever I'm in that person's presence, that old file that holds that hurt is going to be moving in my mind. And as a result, the tendency will be to build stronger and stronger connections between that person and an old unresolved hurt until the mind has such a strong link that I start to substitute, in my mind, I start to substitute my brain's image of them for the actuality of them, and the brain's image is that of hurt. And so really important to understand that and to recognize that if I wire an old hurt into my brain's image of you, on some level, even though it's unconscious, that hurt is going to impact my relationship with you. Let's use an example. Let's imagine that 10 years from now, you're listening to the radio show. Yes, we will be here. And I say, you were listening to today's show, and 10 years from now, I say, don't think about a purple. Now, after 10 years, the amplitude, the resonance of those words has decayed away or died away, weakened. And so you may have no recall whatsoever that I ever spoke about a purple alligator. However, somewhere in the unconscious, that link is going to be active. Now, it may not move on a level where there's any awareness of it whatsoever, but that resonance will impact the quality of my perception. So, if I was in a relationship with somebody 10 years ago and my hurt was moving and I blamed them for my hurt, 10 years later, that link is resonating. I may have no recall of that old hurt that I associated with them, but today my perception is going to be impacted. The constructs of my mind are going to be impacted by that old link. I think that's what led Yeshua 2,000 years ago to say, take care of the heart, for out of it are the issues in life. You'll notice that he didn't say take care the other guy. He didn't say take care your child or your spouse or your parent or your government or your president or your whatever. In every case, if you take care of what's going on inside of you, if you acquire the skill and the ability to deal with and move what's moving inside of you, then your perceptual constructs, the way your mind constructs, the way it sees any particular object of attention, will be far cleaner, and far more accurate than if there are all kinds of old resonances in the mind that have never been addressed or dealt with. And of course, that's the objective of the forgiveness process, to go in and access and clean up those energetic links that many times people have, somebody's around somebody and they're just like, I'm feeling uncomfortable here. I don't know what's going on. Well, there's an old link in the mind, and they're not able to bring that information up to awareness. So the discomfort radiating from the movement of that energy comes to awareness, but the specifics of it don't. And if we allow unconscious dynamics like that to carry on, if we don't take care of the heart, if we don't take care of what's in our unconscious, it can just mess up anything and everything that's going on in our world. Because remembering that perception in the mind are constructs of the mind. What we think we see through our eyes are constructs of the mind. We're not seeing into the world at all. And when we recognize how that unconscious mind impacts the quality of our perception, if you've got a level 1 perception, if you think of, quality of perception being from a level 1 to 10, and you've got a level 1, people look at what you say and what you think about what's going on, and they go, they're a little crazy. That's kind of wacky to think that's true. If you've got a level 10 perception, pretty much everybody looks at you and goes, wow, I really admire the way you see the world. You've got it true. You've got it accurate. And so as one takes care of what's going on in their own unconscious, and again, the best way I know to consistently, persistently enter into and clean up your unconscious mind, which is a totally unnatural condition to have in the first place, the way to consistently, persistently clean it up is through forgiveness. So that worksheet is about, here's how I tap into and deal with those unconscious dynamics that I'm not aware of until I step into the forgiveness process. And one of the reasons why we suggest you write your answers down, many people say, oh, I just do the worksheets in my head. Well, I have a little song that I sing to people who just do worksheets in their head. And the song goes like this: slip sliding away. The nearer your destination, the more you slip sliding away. That old, I think that was Simon and Garfunkel maybe. Or Paul Simon perhaps on his own. But he had it very clearly that when I start to approach the most pained unconscious dynamics in my mind is going to prompt me to move in another direction. And what I want to do is make sure I keep moving the direction of touching into my unconscious dynamics and cleaning them up. Because a mind that has an unconscious dynamic is a mind that does not function properly. I personally have come to the conclusion, if you listen to psychologists today, they'll tell you that 80, 90, 95, maybe even as much as 98% of unconscious, then your creative process is an unconscious one. And we do a whole workshop that's based in cleaning that one up, and it's called On Creating Consciously. And what we realize is you can't not create. You are a creator. You either create out of your conscious dynamics or you create out of what's hidden in you. And if you create out of what's hidden in you, then you're always saying things like, why is this happening to me again? Because you set up circumstances without realizing you're setting them up when you're creating your life unconsciously. So we're just looking to help to clean that dynamic up, and of course to learn on deeper and deeper levels how to clean that dynamic up for ourselves in our own minds, so that more and more perception gets closer and closer to functioning at a level 10, and we get to see the dynamics that otherwise we hide from ourselves. So that would be the idea of the file folder effect. I hope that addresses your question. Your question wasn't very detailed, but certainly once you get to listen to this, if you drop me a note, if you need more clarification, I'll be happy to do it. So thanks for the question. And Ms. Jeannie, do we have anything happening in the chat room or anybody in the film queue with a hand up?
There are no hands up. And Bob is in the chat room, and he said, "Heal yourself, heal the planet." And
There you
he
go.
says,
I'm
"Where
with
can
you,
he
Bob.
buy some?" He says, "Where can he buy some willpower?" And then he has a ha 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 beside it.
Yeah, I hear
He
that
says, "My
one.
mind
Yep.
is just a tool that I use when I choose, for I am so much more than my mind." You are so right, Bob.
Absolutely.
And Slip Sliding
Absolutely.
Away was Paul Simon.
It was Paul, yeah. I thought so.
Yeah.
Powerful piece of music about how when people get close to their unconscious dynamics, they just move in a different direction to their own detriment. And so, of course, that actually the faculty, Bob, that we would talk about, there's a spiritual faculty of will, and then the ego mind has a cheap copy of everything that's real in the spiritual dimension, at least that's what I call it, and that is willpower. And willpower tends to be kind of like forcing. I'm going to make this happen, where will is a gentle faculty, allows us to follow through on the commitments that we make without having to force anything, but just, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to follow through with. And that's definitely one of the faculties that's a part of that bigger part of us than our minds. And of course, to heal, one of my favorite tongue-in-cheek lines in that regard is, you got to be out of your mind. You've got to get this thing to let go, to let loose, because the secrets are not hidden in the mind, they're hidden by the mind. And there's no tool that I know of on the planet, aside from forgiveness, a la first century Aramaic Yeshua, that lets the grips that the mind have on our awareness loosen and heal like that first century Aramaic forgiveness tool. So I hope things are all well, up over or down under, whichever way we happen to look at the map of the globe. I love the map that, actually we don't have one here, but we have a copy of it at Heartland. We bought a big wall map, and it has Australia at the top of the world. Just everything's perception. So we're about the halfway point through the show. We've got a half an hour left, so there's lots of time for dialogue, lots of time for questions, thoughts, answers, ideas. So if you're out there in listener land, and especially if you're listening on one of those stations where we can't see you, then our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show directly. And then if you push 1, that will raise a hand in the control panel, and we will be having a conversation. So we'd love to hear from you. Miss Jeannie, anything on your plate, or anybody with a hand up? Anything?
Oh, I got plenty on my
working,
plate.
By the way?
It is. It is. And I have got as soon as I click the update button right now, the new worksheet is online.
Awesome.
It's on the website. I'm going to put it a couple different places. It'll also be in the notes for today.
Sweet.
And it'll be under the section called More, because that's one of the sections that can pop up easily for the app, and so you can access it that way. You won't be able to do it on the app, but you can access it that way. You can go to the website and click on under multimedia, and then there's a section that says More, and if you go to that, then it'll be the top link. And we'll be putting some pictures out on the website of our garden that's coming along. And I'm not sure if Dusty has raised his hand again. I know he talked to Dr. Tim, but his hand's still up, so I'm going to turn on his microphone and see if he has another question. Dusty, 904.
Well, we could just say hello to the young man. How do you be?
Well, hi, and I thought Australia was at the top of the map, so.
There you go. Everybody's got a reality.
Yeah, man. I heard a significant amount of your connection. I forget whether his name was John or whatever, but the last part of last week you did worksheets with him, head injury guy.
Right.
I have to say, Michael, that was absolutely stone cold beautiful, that whole thing. and I'm inspired by it because here's a gentleman that, well, there was a need, but he went after it, and you were savvy enough to put down everything and just go for it. And I'm still touched by it, and I appreciate that you did that.
Yeah, I thought it was an awesome worksheet, and the courage that he displayed and the willingness was just fabulous.
Yeah, he just put it all out there, and you have to admire someone, their courage and their, fortitude, their drive, and. But I don't know, it just
willingness.
It touched my heart, my mind, and a bunch of things, and I just felt like I really wanted to comment on that. And thank you to him and you and the whole thing.
Cool.
Yeah,
did I send you a link? I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Miss
yeah.
Sorry, I just walked in the room.
Got it.
She had the whole
didn't
conversation.
Even hear you. Yes, you were
that's
so
great
quiet.
To the upstage Wow.
She was in here playing with her toy fish and things like that, and she happened to pick up the thing of seaweed. And I said, Papa likes to eat seaweed, so she was taking it in there to him.
Thank you for the food. So yeah, I just looked and I had
really
sent you the text of that. So.
Okay, thank you very much. And I love being upstage. My voice 3 octaves above mine. That's great. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're blessed. We are blessed. Yes.
So, anyways, I will
let it go.
So, what else is
exciting in your world?
Oh, me? Oh, my goodness. I don't know. I'd like to think that I'm just getting better all the time, and I'm struggling with a couple things, but and I've got some friends with dementia or Alzheimer's that I've been trying to help, but that's a tough row to hoe. And I've been in the ocean. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, were you on any of the shows where we talked about the MCT oil powder?
No.
Okay, well, we got a major difference with Jeannie's dad and his Alzheimer's, and there are a group of physicians who have come up with a new category of diabetes that they're calling type 3. And type 3 diabetes, according to this group of physicians, is that the brain is lacking the catalyst to utilize sugar in the brain cells. And so it's actually, according to them, a form of diabetes when there's no insulin in the brain to take the sugar into the brain cell. And that's why Alzheimer's occurs, according to some physicians. I'm not sure how far the agreement is going in that regard, but there is a powder that you can buy. And if you'd like, I'll send you a link. You can buy it. It's cheap, like 2 pounds of it's $32 or something on Amazon. MCT oil powder.
Send that to an email, please.
Okay, I'll do that. And what they're finding is that it is a fuel that the brain cells can use without insulin.
Oh.
And we saw a major shift in. Say again?
I'm sorry, I missed the name of it.
MCT oil powder.
MCT.
And
Mama cat. Okay.
Yes, and it's an oil-based, converted by the brain into fuel without insulin.
Oh.
Where for sugar to get into the brain cell and be used, it has to have insulin. And we saw a major shift in Jeannie's dad, like major. So, and it's cheap, it's like $32 or $33 for 2 pounds of it, and a couple of tablespoons a day.
I'm gonna put a link in the notes.
And yeah, cool.
Oh, that's great. And so, did he show prior to that he had sugar or insulin issues?
He has diabetes, and this was a new thing that had shown up. It was actually
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It was actually the reason why we moved here.
Okay, and it's an indirect influence on his Alzheimer's, is what you're speculating, or whatever?
Well, what a group of physicians is saying is that Alzheimer's is what they're categorizing as type 3 diabetes, no insulin in the brain.
Oh, wow, that's a big link.
Which means,
wow.
Yeah, which mean, and I don't know that it's necessarily related to diabetes, but that it's type 3, and with no insulin in the brain can't use sugar, so it's got no fuel. The brain cells just flop. But this stuff can be used just straight up with no insulin, and we saw a major shift in Jean's dad. So, if that is what's going on with your friends, it's a really cheap fix and can really make a major difference very quickly.
Well, that's very good to know. And my question is, if he doesn't have a history of diabetes, is that still potentially a good adjunct on the Alzheimer's to use?
As I understand it, yes. What they're calling type 3 does not relate to, as I understand it. Now, I may not be correct, but at this stage, kind of primitive understanding of the whole thing, at this stage, yes, it is not an effect that comes from people who have diabetes to start with. It's something that can just show up independent. They can have healthy sugar metabolism, otherwise. This is something that hits the brain for some reason. Again, it's
okay.
The
I will
theory,
pass
but
that on.
We saw
thank
big
you
changes.
very much, because I've really been struggling. I've lost 2 or 3 friends to this, and that's a heck of a way to lose friends, and it seems like always at the end, some family member pulls them away from the one person that they've stayed in contact with. You know what I mean? And so that's really good to know, and I will pass that on and see if and see.
Yeah, it's such a cheap fix that it's like, so try it and see what happens. It's like
Great.
a no-brainer.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I don't want to tie up your line anymore, but I appreciate you guys, and much love to you and everybody listening or not listening.
All right, my friend. Take care. Blessings.
Bye-bye.
So, Miss Jeannie, we've got about 20 minutes left.
And we have 2 hands up. And
Let's go for it. Yay.
First one is a longer number, so this might actually be Bob. Hold on. 614, you're on the air.
Hey, good day, folks. How are you?
Hey, welcome. Good to hear your voice, young man.
Yeah, ditto.
How are things rocking in your world?
Yeah. I have a feeling that this year 2023 will be a breakthrough year for me. It's like all my work on healing depression and exposing the myth of mental illness. It's like the last 10 or 15 years I've just been getting all my ducks in a row. So now I've got my books out there and I've got loads of videos happening, and so I just get the feeling that, I've started the snowball rolling and it's gaining momentum, and I think it's time for my message to get out there, and
Nice.
The challenge is to reach a greater audience.
Right.
But all all I can do is just, keep reaching out, and I'm doing that. I'm doing loads of radio shows and making videos and connecting with people. And someday somebody will come along and, pick up the ball and run with it. Somebody that's, got a big audience. So that'll be really great, because I know I'm only a young blood. I turned 71 this year. But my concern is that I'll die before my message becomes common knowledge in our global consciousness. So,
well, maybe the first step is to swear never to die.
Can I
maybe
say
it's time to just choose to be eternal. Hey, well, why not? You'd have my support.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my commitment.
Yeah, it's funny. Looking at the so-called sort of truthers movement out there, it's peppered with, I don't know, how can I put it? People that seem to be lost in the trap of the intellect. They're trying to think their way through life, And
yeah.
For me, I live in a feeling universe, not a thinking universe. I experience this life through my senses, I hear the kookaburras sing in the morning. I feel the warmth of the sun on my skin, smell the sweet tang of the rotting mangoes. So I don't buy into this paradigm of I think, therefore I am. For me, it is I feel, therefore I am. Oh, yeah.
Got to be out of your mind.
Yeah, I had to go out of my mind to come to my senses.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm right with you. Are your videos on YouTube, Bob?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, Bob Eden.
Well, tell us how to find it, and maybe we can get some people moving in your direction.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Well, my YouTube channel is Bob Eden, and I have a playlist there called Personal Growth, and all my videos on depression recovery and claiming your authentic self and all that sort of stuff are there. I can put a link in the comments here if you like.
Okay. So what's the name of the channel?
Bob Eden, my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up as we speak.
And also, all my work can be found on Google by just typing in the gift of depression space Bob Eden, and then like everything I've done really comes up under that search.
Great. Well, I just subscribed to your channel.
Oh, good on you, man.
I didn't know it was there. Thanks for letting us know.
That's it, isn't it? Like getting the message out there. But what I've come to realize is that whenever I throw a pebble in the pond, I never know how far the ripples go. And so
that's right.
I've just thrown my pebble. I've just thrown my pebble in the pond over here, and it's reached you all the way over there. So
hey,
it's amazing.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Doesn't get better than that.
No. And what I just want to share, I won't take too long. My life living in heart space is so very simple now. I operate under two principles, and the first one is the KISS principle, keep it simple, sovereign. Yeah, I know I changed it because I've come to realize that the words I choose to use create my reality. So I changed it to keep it simple, sovereign. And
yes.
I seem to have this uncanny knack of reducing things down to their simplest format. And then my second principle is something I coined about 12 years ago, and I call it the 'SUE' principle, the SUE principle, and that is, We are all sovereign, unique, and equal, and everything else just flows from that. And both of those principles sit under the umbrella of integrity, because without personal integrity, well, you know, if I can lie to myself, I can lie to anybody. So integrity is the most powerful driving force in my life. And now my life is so simple. There's only one law, do no harm. I've only got one right, and that is the right of self-determination. And when my body's tired, we sleep. And when my body's awake, we play. And that's my life in a nutshell.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, I'm in full agreement on that thing with integrity. It's certainly, you know, one of the things we talk about in some of our workshops is that energy systems don't bring through more energy by efforting, they bring through more energy by aligning. And, you know, to me, another word for integrity is alignment. Am I really in alignment in everything? My thoughts, my words, my goals, my perceptual constructs, is all of that in alignment? And if so, that's where real power comes from. So I'm in full agreement with you on that one.
What I know in my inner knowing is that everyone has their own sort of inner moral compass, that inner knowing about what is right and what is wrong. And if you move away from that, that's a pathway to disaster. When I look at Western society, I think the biggest killer in Western society is the fact that people are living their programs and not living their truth, not following their moral compass, not following their inner tuition.
Yep.
But
generational patterns
changing. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm so glad I did. You know, by healing the wounds of my childhood, I actually broke the multi-generational cycle of abuse. And God bless John Bradshaw for that, because his work saved my life.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool.
Okay.
All right, my friend. Well, I'm delighted to connect and say hello.
Me too. My love to you.
And we'll be watching some of your videos. I just subscribed to your channel, so we'll see what we find.
Good on you, mate, as we say in Australia.
All right. Blessings. Appreciate you, my friend.
All right, we do have another hand up. And
let's go for it.
828, I think it's Miss Magda.
Hello.
Well, hey there, young lady.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm fine. And I was, and I know you guys are too, right? Right? Tell me.
We're rocking. We are.
Okay, good. Well, what I'm calling about is the question around the MCT oil and whether or not a person who chooses to try that has to have a past history of diabetes. And I believe the answer,
And let me throw one thing in there. I put a link to the one that we buy on Amazon. There are MCT oil, which a friend of mine was using and said that it tastes horrible. This is MCT oil powder, and it's just a white powder, and we put it in our smoothies. It's like adding cream to something. You know, it's just really nice. We add it to tea.
Yeah, we use it as a prophylactic.
Right, exactly.
I think anybody who's aging, that powder is going to be a support and a fuel that takes the load off of the pancreas, because it can be used easily in any part of the body. So.
Exactly. I wanted to let you know, in case you don't already, that there is a wonderful doctor/scientist in the sense that he does not actually do science himself, but he is an incredible reviewer of science, of the best and most recent science out there, Dr. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, Jaman Das. He's on YouTube, JAMANDES, I believe. And
JAMDES?
No, I should have spelled it out on paper. Jaman Das, JAMANDES. I believe that.
Oh, thank you.
And what he just has a multitude of information that he shares based upon his research and his own experiences in his work with his patients. And one thing that I remember from listening to one of his YouTube videos is that lots of people have diabetes and they don't know it. And the reason is because they don't really test the insulin. All they test is the sugar level. And so well before the sugar level gets high enough for the cutoff that was arbitrarily decided upon, that means you have diabetes, but yesterday you didn't. Well before that, the body is in trouble. And it's by testing the insulin level after eating and whatever procedures they do that one can really find out if things are working properly.
Right.
So anyway, I think that anyone and everyone could benefit by trying this. And I'm going to get some, that's for sure.
I'm with you. And also, one of the things that, they did a research project at University of California in San Diego, a double-blind thing on the Avicin. And what they found was that using the Avicin for 30 minutes after eating a meal dropped postprandial sugar levels by 60 points, which is about the equivalent of a 60-minute brisk walk. And so that's another adjunct to keeping sugar levels healthy. And they are theorizing that what happens, the reason it makes that much difference is because when you open the microcirculation, the sugar that otherwise would be left in the bloodstream and create problems is actually driven down into the microcirculation into the cell by microcirculation, and that makes a difference. But it's a pretty major shift or adjunct to keeping sugar levels healthy.
Absolutely great. Yep. So I'm going to need to remember to use it after I eat. That would be the best time. It sounds like,
That's the best time. Yep.
Hey.
And the impact carries on for hours after it's used in terms of, the beneficial aspect of it is extended for several hours after use each time you use it. So, using it multiple times a day can really make a difference.
Well, that's excellent.
Patrick McGann.
Yes.
Patrick McGann, the naturopath that you've heard on the show, actually was the one who introduced me to the Avicin, and he was able to work for about 2 hours a day after he woke up in the morning, and because of diabetic neuropathy in his feet, he would be literally have to have his feet up in excruciating pain for the rest of the day. And within about 2 months of using the Avicin, he was doing 5 hours a day, and that was 2 years ago. And now, the last time I went to visit him, he had started early in the morning. It was 10 o'clock at night when I got there, and he's still working on a project out in his garage. So and now he can work 10, 12, 14-hour days, and he has no problem with his feet whatsoever. Pretty major difference.
It is a major difference. And I met Patrick the last time we were at Heartland together. Yeah.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
Yeah, and he helped me with a lot of information that I needed about Avicin as well. So
sweet.
Yeah. Well, I
think he's going to be there in July with us.
Okay. Well, you've got some chocolate. You've got some mint chocolate candy coming up.
Ooh, yay. There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to hold you to that one. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Questions, my
It was
dear
interesting.
one?
I was listening to a physician the other day, a video, and the question he was asked, he's a naturally oriented medical doctor who said he never learned anything about healing when he went to medical school, but he was asked what the 5 foods were that he felt were most important, and one of them was dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao.
Oh, yes.
That's one of the most important foods to eat. Now, I mean, how can you get better news than that?
The only important thing to remember is make sure you get it without sugar.
Without sugar, exactly, yes.
Yes, use stevia or whatever, but yeah, that's very important. You know me, I like my chocolate, so I'm
there
right
you
there
go.
with you.
All right, young lady, you have a blessed one.
You too.
Give Chuck a hug for us. All righty, take care.
Absolutely will. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Miss Jeannie, we're down to about 3 minutes, I guess. 2 minutes, maybe.
Actually, you're less than 2.
Less than 2. Well, in that case, we'll just say if you're interested in the new worksheet, the link is in the notes. The worksheet is on the website. It simplifies the process a little bit. It's a good starting point, and then move on to the deeper worksheet is the suggestion that I make. And as soon as we get the video presentation where we presented that worksheet on Saturday, we'll make sure that you know about it and you've got an opportunity to go over it with us. And beyond that, we're just going to invite everybody to have the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. The world's certainly in need of it, and you have the power to give it. So thanks for joining us. Blessings. Bye-bye.